Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Just Four Friends Trying to Figure Out This Intricate World of HR. I hope you guys have had an amazing week. I have. I only worked 2 days this week, so that's amazing for me.
Nice.
Yeah. Sorry.
I worked all week.
So I thought with this week we could take it somewhere a little different, right? So last week was all fun and games and some super taboo subjects and lots of TMIs, maybe. But I want to talk today about HR investigations, right? After all, we are HR and we do investigations and a lot of it. I want to say maybe like 50% of my week is doing HR investigations. Sometimes they're pointless. Sometimes they are, you discover just a plethora of new policies and things that can impact our employees. So I do enjoy them because we get to learn from them.
Can I say one thing though about investigations is just when I thought I've heard everything in this job, an investigation comes across that I go, oh God, I don't even know how to frame this in a summary. So this is just investigations teach you a lot in HR for sure.
For sure. I mean, we can get into some of the investigations that we've kind of covered, right? And just kind of learn through them and take some pro tips, that we can apply to our everyday investigative work. I looked at the list of scenarios or cases that we, kind of wanted to talk about. And the first one that really caught my attention was one titled "Playing Chicken, Don't Get Scared."
I'm scared already.
I know. I'm like, I'm thinking workers' comp. I'm thinking somebody fell off a staircase. Like, let's talk through playing chicken and not being scared.
So that one is mine. And I will tell you that is one of the fastest investigations I probably have ever done. So I had come into work earlier than normal. And I walk into the back room of the building that I'm working in. I hear the horse playing before I even push open the double doors to walk back there. And I have 2 employees that are taking turns getting inside of a cardboard baler, pushing the button and having it go down to see how far it can go before they get scared and scream.
What?
And the other person pushes the emergency stop when they scream. I walked back there and I just looked at them and I said, you know what? I will call you both to let you know the final decision, but I'm going to tell you now you're both fired.
Okay, well, for those of us that are have pregnancy brain, what is a cardboard baler?
So it's a compactor. It's what almost every company in the world that's grocery or retail or anyone that sells product that they have to open boxes and they throw all the boxes into this big compactor that you throw the boxes in and you shut the front of it and you push the button and this huge flat metal beam pushes the cardboard down at a high intense pressure. You're not going to survive if it pushes you down.
Oh, like at the junkyard?
A little bit. Think about, when you see the cars getting squished from the side, but it's just going from the top down. So it's nothing to play with. They're regulated by state and federal law. They're regulated by OSHA. And there's a lot of rules to apply to it. I mean, if you are underage and you work for a company, you're not even legally allowed to touch it. So to walk back there and see 2 employees as a joke, it's equivalent to me as putting a bullet in a weapon, spinning it, and playing Russian roulette.
Yeah.
You're just asking for someone to die.
So first question for me, These are these management candidates? No, I'm just kidding. Where are there? Where is the supervision? Where's the people in charge, or were they playing too?
So they were actually working because, like any good organization, they give you a very limited amount of hours where salary members of management have to go and do everything outside of the scope of their managerial duties. So they were actually out on the floor and they were performing work tasks. And when I reviewed the video, they hadn't gone back there for like an hour. So there was conversations with leadership about increasing their presence and doing better tours and monitoring what their staff is physically doing productive wise. But as far as the employees go, yeah, they didn't continue working with us after that day.
What were their faces when they saw you? Because when our employees see HR, right, generally it's like they freeze up, they tense up, they're like, what are they doing out here? Here comes, who are they coming to fire? Like, the look on their faces, I'm sure was priceless.
I honestly, I would have to say the guy outside, because I couldn't even see the guy inside. I could hear him, I could see movement, but I couldn't see him because the thing was already below the lip. But the guy on the outside just looks at me, and I swear it's like my 12-year-old daughter just got caught with her hand in a cookie jar. It's just like it was a blank stare. And my face, I can still remember my muscle movements in my face that day. I walked back there and I just looked at him and I had a grin on my face. Not because it was funny. It was one of those, like, it's better to laugh than cry situations where like people laugh at the most awkward moments. It's like, why are you laughing? Because I don't want to cry. I didn't know how to act, so I'm sitting there just like I have like a light laugh, and I'm like, I will call y'all, but y'all are fired. Thank y'all for coming in.
Did they think they had a chance? Like, did they think we might get like a final warning?
No, not in this situation, because the company I worked for at the time, which I think every company I've ever worked for has done a really great job at training people on cardboard balers and the rules and regulations behind it, to include what the accountability is that follows if you abuse it. So they knew what was happening.
They were on their final warning from Jesus, because
if
that thing went any further down, no more warnings for you, buddy.
Mm-mm. So, but yeah, short, simple, sweet, not a lot of invest. I had a camera in the hallway too that captured it all, so I didn't need to collect statements and go through all the original ordeals of a deep investigation. It was clear, simple, cut, dry. You were stupid. Couldn't say that to their face at the time, but you're fired.
But you were thinking it.
Oh, absolutely. No, I had a few choice words in my head when I caught them.
If something were to have happened to one of them.
Oh, so that would have been an ocean nightmare, because even if they would have gotten injured on that piece of machinery, it would have been something that we would have had to report. If they would have died, it would have been OSHA reportable. I mean, regardless, like looking at the primary fact that there would have been an injury or loss of life, which is the most crucial piece of any investigation that scares anyone who's human, it would have been detrimental to the business, because although they were negligent, they made some of the most stupidest decisions a person can make in their life at that moment. I can only imagine what the families would have tried to have done in suing the company and said that they could have done something more, they could have prevented it. They would have tried to throw liability on the organization, which is why people don't get second chances in certain situations like this.
Now, did you have a nickname for them?
I did not. I did not give them a nickname, but I to this day will never forget that, because out of every investigation, to me, that was just, it was so stupid. It's like how do you go home and tell people you got fired? Like, what'd you get fired for? Oh, we're playing Russian roulette with a cardboard baler to see who's going to die first.
No. It's to see who screams first. Come on now.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Like add
until
that to
someone
the
died.
list of dumb reasons why you get fired.
Yes.
I was playing on the
I'd make up a
cardboard
story.
balloon.
If I'd make up a story, I'd be like, they accused me of stealing money or something. I would just go,
Yeah,
like I could not come home and be like,
a
why'd you
better
get fired?
story.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
no.
Well,
I slapped the person across the face for insulting my mother.
Better
Yeah.
better story.
both of them were young. They were out of high school, but they were still in their early 20s.
Okay, I do have a question, a follow-up question. Was there any type of inhibiting factors, aka did anybody have any type of drugs, alcohol? Is there any good excuse behind doing this?
I think that would have made it more understandable if there were factors that led to it. But no, I think it was just immaturity, stupidity,
Stupidity in its
ignorance.
purest form. Yeah.
Its purest form. So
Oh my god. The
I
things my
think-
mind wanders off to of like what would have happened if somebody would, I don't know, but what if it's, I'm assuming it's loud. What if you can hear the person? Also, like, what kind of follow-up do you get? I mean, I know that you mentioned there were some talks about doing, some more present tours and things like, but like, how do you talk to your employees and make them understand like like this is not a joke. You could die. And for what?
I can tell you, obviously, rumors got spread around. Everybody knew why they got fired because there were people who observed or heard the conversation toward the end. But in this situation, all you can do without breaking confidentiality is retrain and educate and teach. But that was everything that was done from the beginning, which didn't prevent it. So all you could do is go back and re-educate and reteach and retrain and make people understand that people die every day by making stupid decisions, that they could have just not did it. And in this situation, it was putting themselves at harm. But those inabilities to stop and think about making stupid decisions can eventually lead to other people getting hurt. So you putting yourself and other people in harm. So thankfully, nobody was hurt. But I also kind of threw out a little bit more, focusing on like what might motivate the younger people to care versus their lives. Because you would think a life would be worth caring for. But for some, you have to kind of point out the factors that they look at more than injuries and death, which is, if somebody gets hurt, our business will shut down, if, for sure temporarily, with a possibility of it being permanent. And then nobody in this building will have a job. We're all going to be unemployed. We're all going to be out waiting to get paid. We're all going to be on unemployment. So your decisions affect everybody, even if you're the one getting hurt. So you got to think about the consequences that you're putting yourself in, as well as the repercussions that follow that affect everybody else in that facility. These people have families to feed. They have kids to care for, bills to pay for.
Yeah. And again, just to test the waters. What the hell?
So
I'd use that in my safety trainings going forward. Like, let me give you a perfect example of what not to do.
yes.
Playing chicken with a baler.
Yeah. When you walk around your work, and I think all of us, to include everyone that's going to be listening or watching to this podcast, can all think of one thing where we've looked at something or we read something and we're like, wow, that's pretty stupid. Why do they have to put that on there? I'll give you a prime example. I was visiting another country and we were at an aquarium, and they had a piranha tank that was open on the top. There's a little sign that said, do not put fingers in the water. There's a reason why someone had to put that sign on the tank, because someone probably stuck their fingers in the water. So when you walk by a cardboard baler and it says, or shows a picture of your fingers or your body going into the baler with a big old circle and an X going through it, There's a reason why they had to put that on the bailer. You know, when you call your general practice, your doctor, and the first thing that says, if this is a medical emergency, please hang up and dial 911. Why is something so stupid so present? Because someone did it. Someone had a medical emergency and called their local physician instead of 911. There's a reason why stupid rules exist.
Yep, for stupid
And
people.
this is a prime example.
Would we
I
qualify
noticed
this under
something.
dumb investigation?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I thought of something funny, and it reminded me of my childhood, Jason, that you had said. And if anybody is any close to our age, you may remember this. When I was a kid, at about 7:30 every morning, Paul Harvey was on talking about the criminals and the dumb things that they did in order to get arrested. And I mean, just some wild out of the world stories that you're like, man. And this was in like the 90s. Like there was the camera's footage wasn't good. So it was
No.
surprising. So my mother would have this on every morning, and I was just like, this is why I can't be a criminal. I'm too intelligent for this. I can't. But I always loved it whenever he ended the story. And now the rest of the story. Like I just always thought that was so cool.
That's
Anyways.
actually a pretty cool thing. But you are dating a lot of us in here, mainly me and you. I don't know about Jake and Mama Mel, but our demographics just went way down. They went way up for those 50 and older based on that story.
All them
I don't
the
even
ticks
know
went
who
up when
Paul
you mentioned
Harvey
Paul Harvey.
Is that like a thing they played in the north? Because I don't remember seeing that in Texas.
Yeah, it was when I was a kid in Texas.
He was nationally syndicated. So like you have to listen to like the AM station or
Oh.
He was probably back there with Bob Barker.
That the Price is Right guy?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I quit. I'm out.
Listen,
I'm
I was
too
a very
old.
I was a very sheltered child. It's not that you're old. I was just super sheltered.
How are you sheltered? It's The Price is Right. It couldn't get any more
We
innocent.
watched The Price is Right only if you like didn't go to school, then you could, and then you could watch Days of Our Lives and Passions and Maury and like you are not the father. The lady goes off screaming and the cameraman follows.
We know she wouldn't live in the 90s
Mhm.
because Maury was not on in the 90s.
It's Jerry Springer. Right?
There's Jerry.
Springer, baby.
There's Jerry.
Oh, Jerry.
Jerry.
Can you imagine investigations on that show, like with that cast?
Oh my
God. HR's nightmare.
That might be what
investigations, Lord.
I feel like Jerry Springer may be the reason why some people were motivated to get into HR.
Said Jake from HR.
Yeah. Like I see this. I want to deal with that every day.
Every day.
I just feel bad for Dr. Phil. And Dr. Phil, if you're listening to this, I do feel bad for you because you can catch me outside.
Catch me outside. How about that?
Catch me outside.
HR's fun until you have an employee Indian style in your office meditating, and you're like, how long are you gonna do? What are we doing here? We just sat there for 30 minutes.
Well, we've got some good stories for sure.
Definitely. We four are the dream team to me, right? You've got what were the nicknames? What was the spreadsheet? King, Queen, Goddess,
Maestro or Picasso or something.
Picasso. Yeah. But definitely have never tied laziest team to us. Easiest job, laziest team.
Okay, so that is mine. Let me just give you this. Let me give you the job description of what this team was supposed to do. Okay, they're supposed to walk to a point in the building, touch the doorknob to make sure it's locked, and check off a clipboard. That's the job for a night shift, to walk every 30 to 40 minutes and check each of these checkpoints and doors. That's all they had to do. There's no interaction. There was no having to do like update file a report. It is literally walk with the clipboard, touch the door, make sure it's locked, and walk to another door. This was their job. Now, it was a highly regulated facility, which had nuclear capabilities. So that's why they had to do this job. So that's literally what their job. They falsified doing this job for months. 4 months. So if you would imagine, it was a team of about 7 or 8 people. So every 30 minutes they're checking doors. But so that means that someone is literally walking around the building at all times checking these doors. For months, no one saw them, but the reports kept going in saying it was done. Now, this could have been the easiest investigation. I like that. It could have been the easiest investigation in the world, because all they had to do was corroborate their stories. But they were so lazy that they couldn't even get together to come up with an excuse. So myself and a gentleman from our corporate security, who was an ex-law enforcement, FBI something, sits down with in his, like you would picture like NYPD Blue. They sit down, you put you in the hot seat. I'm the, nice cop, they're the bad cop. All I did was ask a questions like, did you check this box right here?
Mm-hmm.
And they go, yes, I did. Did you check the door? Yes, I did. One by one, they came in and did this. Mind you, FBI man had video evidence. He already had witnesses' statements. He had a report from the nuclear or whatever federation. He had all this stuff. All they had to do was come up with a pretty plausible story, but they just couldn't get it together. One guy sold them up the river. One guy went in and said, yeah, we pretty much faked all that, and we hadn't done this job for a while. And we were like, what? And then he said, so the question for me was like, what were you guys doing? They had video games, handheld video games that they were playing, and sleeping because it was night shift. So that is the easiest job I've ever heard of, and highly paid, by the way. Because they were on a nuclear site, they were highly paid and pretty much squandered a $60,000 to $70,000 job. Have at it with that. Questions?
Question, actually more or less a comment, but we've been told at some points in time in our careers that we were highly compensated.
Questionable, sir. Questionable.
Questionable. But I guess the one thing I want to just put in people's minds, if HR is coming to you asking specific questions, it's because we already know. It's like your mom. Your mom, she knows you took the cookie from the cookie jar. Okay? Because that was the last damn cookie. And
right.
She wanted it after a hard day's work. And so your mom goes, did you eat the cookie? No. Mm-mm.
Crumbs.
No. Crumbs coming down, chocolate chips on the face, and it's like, your mom knows. She knows you did it. So HR, when we're coming to you in investigations, 99% of the times, because we have evidence already and we know you did it.
Exactly.
You know, my mom used to always say, if it's easy, it's not worth having. So it's probably good for them not to have that job.
Can apply that to so many aspects in life.
Yes. Yes. I neglected to tell you the outcome. Obviously, final investigation sorted that all were termed. So we termed all of the people on the shift, supervisor included. Even though the supervisor had no idea what was happening, but he signed off on the docs.
Oh my God.
He's like, I trusted my team. I thought they were doing their job. I'm like, you didn't check? So
Look, there's trust and there's stupidity.
yeah.
Trust but verify is, I guess that's one of our things we say in HR. Trust but verify. Like, I believe them, but that don't mean I ain't gonna check on you.
Do you
What
know how many
prompted the
times?
investigation? Like,
Oh, that's a good one.
So there was a badge issue. Somebody had a badge issue, and they were trying to get into the facility, and they found that the door was open. That the one particular door was open, and so like when you scurry back, you go, "Hey, the door is open. Like it's supposed to be sealed and shut. Like somebody working in there? Oh no." Well, when's the and so like you just walk that one small element back, and you find out that no one's checked that door. The door's been open for months, so on and so forth. And it's just, but that's what happened. It was one small stupid thing that somebody innocently was like, "Hey, the door's open. What's the deal with the door?" And there it is. That's the snowball effect. All your shit just comes up at that point. They're like, "Oh God." But yeah, they that's what triggered it. And then obviously because it was a giant corporation and it's a huge entity, you have to report that up. And I actually got interviewed by a government agency asking about my investigation. Like I was involved. I was like, I just showed up to the site. The site was literally 5 hours from my location. I had to drive 5 hours to get there. Just to investigate. I was nervous as hell. I was actually not groomed, but they like, here's what you would say, here's how you're going to say it. There was an attorney present. Yeah, I was prepped. Yeah, but it was like, why am I under investigation? What did I do? I just walked there and asked the questions, and then I wrote a report. I don't know. So it was a whole big to do.
What was your security clearance back in the military?
Mine? Oh no, I didn't. I think I had enough clearance to get into the kitchen, and even then that was restricted because I was on what they called the fat boy diet, and so, yeah, they took that away, But I tell you this, I'll say this very quickly. I made a lot of money in the military because I did the jobs that nobody wanted, like kitchen detail. You know why? Because I was fucking starving. Because they had me on a diet. They literally had me on a diet. I went in and they were like, "Hey, you can't eat the regular foods." And my breakfast consisted of 1 egg, cottage cheese, and skim milk. That was my breakfast for the day. It was horrible. And that's why I kind of have some animosity towards you, Dr. Green, for being a former drill sergeant.
The military regulates your diet? What the heck?
Yes. That was back in the day when there weren't so many regulations.
Yes. And you get taped, weighed, taped, like even after PT tests.
They still do that.
They still do that. It's
the tape measure was not my friend.
The tape measure was always my friend.
Let's just say if you're short, you're screwed.
Oh, you're absolutely
the shorter you are, the thinner you have to be. You cannot weigh a lot.
Cannot be a midget.
No. Poor Alex. He's a little bit shorter than me. And
right,
he's not big, but he keeps getting taped and measured. And they're like, "Oh, you're close. You're close." I'm like, the dude's in his mid-40s. He's going on 23 years. Leave him alone.
He's an old man. Leave him alone now. Jeez. But the reason why I
Let
was
him enjoy his
asking,
cupcake.
about your thing, Big Llama, was because in 42 Alpha, human resources world of the military, unless they changed it, so they changed it. Oh well. But I got my secret security clearance, and it had to get renewed. It was scary as all get out.
Yeah.
This guy kept calling me, and he's like, "I'm from such and such department of something agency," and I was like, so I called my staff sergeant. I'm like, "Hey, is this real?" I'm like, "They think they're from blah blah blah," and she's like, "Yeah, absolutely." And I was like, "Oh crap!" They're like, "That's for your clearance. You need to go do it." And I was like, "All right, cool." I met this guy at a public library because that's where he wanted to meet. I'm sitting here going, "This has got to be not normal."
Are you sure you didn't swipe right on that one? I'm just kidding.
I think Chris Hansen, Dateline NBC, popped out there.
And now the rest of the story.
Great tie-in on that.
So, anyways, it was so scary, Kenny. I was nervous because he asked something specific.
Oh shit!
That was like, "How do you know this?" And so, my grandfather, God rest his soul, his wife passed away, and he still liked muscle cars, and he loved Mustangs, and so he got a Mustang. He got this beautiful premium V8 Mustang, and I was like, "Oh, it's beautiful. It's blue. It's great." I said, "Man, I wish I had one." He's like, "All right, son, let's go." I thought he was joking. He was not. We went down to the dealership, got the Mustang. He wrote his little John Hancock and handed it out, and I was like, "Okay, cool." Well, I come to find out through fact checking. I don't know what the brand is. It could be Carfax or whatever it is that we used. But I come to find out it had been damaged, frame damage, and I didn't know nothing about it. So it's a lemon law, all that good stuff. So I returned it back to the dealership. This is like 8 months later. I returned it back to the dealership. They wrote me a check for like $13,000, something like that. I took it to the bank, and I said, I need to cash this so I can go put it in my bank.
Oh, bank fraud?
And so they flagged me for cashing a $13,000 check.
Well,
yeah, anything over 10,000
Hey,
flags in the IRS.
I didn't know, but this guy was like, "You were here at this time, at this day, with this amount of money. What were you doing with the money?" And I was like, "Giving the money back to my grandfather? Why? Are you sure that's your answer?"
oh shit!
Yes, I am. No, I went to buy drugs. Just kidding. Just kidding.
You know they're listening right now.
Yes, they are.
I have some really good stories, but we can't talk about them on this. So,
Well, we used all our spicy points on the last podcast episode.
No, I'm just talking about.
I'm still hung up on the fact that your granddaddy gave you a car. My grandma gave me a faja. Do you guys know what a faja is?
I know what it sounds like.
Spicy.
I said that's not spicy. Llama, do you know what a faja is?
Is it a bike?
Baja.
No, never heard of it.
Is it a
Skateboard?
bell?
It's a waist trainer.
Oh, is that the little thing that like jiggles you?
Okay, so remember in like the 80s, maybe? Like the when people would go to the gym, or the 90s, they would wear like the sweatsuits, right? And then like under they would wear like a thing. I don't know what it's called in English. It's like a waist trainer, like a like a waistband, and it helps you sweat. Okay. Your granddaddy gave you a car. My grandmother said, "There you go."
I don't think I would ever, if I don't think I would ever get away with that. Even if he was alive, I still probably wouldn't get away with that again. But like, he was just in a good mood and was like, "All right, let's go buy a car." And I thought he was joking. I really thought he was going to mess with me. Like, we were going to drive down to the dealership. He was going to pull in and turn out the parking lot. That's what I really
I'd
thought
be
was
like,
going to
psych.
happen. Right.
Oh,
The
no.
90s
Surprise, you get a
term.
paja.
Yeah, surprise, you get a paja. And hence my traumas started.
No one shames you more than your
Oh,
grandparents. At least
listen,
in Hispanic families, no
in a
one
Hispanic
shames you more.
family, you know exactly. And it's all from a place of love. It's
Listen,
not meant
I,
to be malicious. They just that's how they say I love you is you need to,
no,
you know.
listen. I
Trim
was
up.
called gordo or gordito so
Oh, yeah.
often that I thought that was my name. Like, ven aquí, gordo. Come here, gordo. Like, dude, at least put the dito on it. Like, fuck you. Like,
Yeah, a
come
little
on.
love.
Like,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
little love. You're
Say
like
it with
gordo,
love.
like
Yeah.
fat ass. Get over your fat
Get
ass.
over
No,
here.
Is that really
gordito
what
is
it meant?
like
Yeah, it's
gordo
like
is like fat guy,
or fatty.
and
Yeah, like come here,
gordito
fatty.
is like the cutesy way.
Yeah, like
Oh God.
So you're
little
basically saying,
fatty.
don't call me fat, call me little fat, little
Right,
fatty.
right.
Oh
Fatty.
Jesus.
Make it cute.
You know what?
Make it cute.
Count your blessings. They could have called you what they called that kid on Family Guy. No diabito.
No, that be
Oh my god.
done. Mommy, I want cookie. No, diabito.
Roll back to the kitchen.
What the heck do you guys watch?
It's an episode
Family
of Family Guy.
There's some crazy
Oh.
messed up stuff on there, but I love it.
I'm gonna
It's
look for that
absolutely
episode.
hilarious.
Okay, so Chad, tell me the more you know.
Oh gosh, this one was an interesting one. I was at an organization and we had a person in management, and it's not a very long story, but I had just started this organization. I knew nobody. I didn't know who to trust. I didn't know, I didn't know anything. And this leader at one point in time started correcting people's spellings in the email. Well, it apparently gotten so bad that they were correcting them from the words like male versus male, past versus past. And so this leader decided to put in an email to 60 people. Past is this. Past is this.
Oh,
I think you meant
shit.
this. And then decided to take the logo of the more you know and the rainbow and the star and put it at the bottom of it and said, the more you know, and sent it out. And I was like, I had to read so many emails just to make sure, because apparently this leader had been doing it for months, had been sending it. And finally somebody said, I'm tired of this person making fun of me.
Oh,
and I was like, well, what do you mean?
God.
Tell me a story. She puts the more you know. And I was like, oh God, that's awful. It's like the person felt belittled and berated in front of all these people in an email. And so needless to say, we turned that person.
Well, that manager, I'm sure, was saying it with much love.
No place of love, yes. But
A positive intent.
no,
Yes.
but okay. I have to respect the set of cojones this person has. This is the bilingual episode, by the way.
See,
I have to say, because that takes some nerve. That takes some, like, you're pissed at that point. Like maybe I'm sympathizing with the aggressor, but like something drove you to that point of madness where you lost your shit. You forgot who you are, what you do. You're like, the more you know. I'll get them. I don't understand where my brain would. Listen. It would take like a manic episode for me to get to that point, but I gotta respect it.
That's a appreciated level of pettiness from someone that silently corrects people all the time. I'm like, your apostrophe, your no apostrophe son, there, right? But we silently judge, which is what a lot of us do in HR all the time. We just silently judge. That's a whole other level of pettiness. I am on board with it. From a grammar police woman to another, applaud to you, sir. I certainly would never do it. Right? But more power to you, man.
You know, it definitely ended in a different it prolonged the investigation into a further deeper investigation, and I know all of us have investigated something, and then it just went down this insane rabbit hole.
Oh God.
And it ended up in like fraud of money and all sorts of stuff, like just from the more you know. And then another person would say, oh, well, they did this too. So now I have to go and investigate this. And then, oh, yeah, that's true. And then you get people to verify. And it's like, oh, my gosh, this. I just wanted to maybe high five the person that said the more you know. Like, that's all I wanted to do. But instead, now they're fired. Like,
Now we have to take a small ad break because Mama Mel is taking a break. This is episode two, and it happened in episode 1, and now we have a repeat on episode 2. So,
the more you know.
The more.
This may lead to additional investigations in her house.
Yeah, well, we're going to investigate that Wi-Fi for sure.
So while we're waiting her Wi-Fi to reconnect,
there it is.
I'll tell you the more you know can go either way as far as it could lead you down a multitude of rabbit holes, or in the other 50% of the cases with laziness, they need to know more, because there's been numerous investigations that, you know, I've gone in and verified and checked before accountability was taken or conversations were had with the employees that were being investigated. And to come to find out, they didn't actually do anything wrong. You know, they weren't really following policy verbatim. And I'll give you a really quick example. This employee was purchasing sodas and then putting them back in the coolers on the sales floor after he had bought them, and then would go back at the end of his shift and get them and then go drink them. So due to a poor investigation of not knowing more, they just saw the video of them taking a drink out of a cooler and said, oh, thief, fire him. And it's like, go look at the whole video. See what happened. Run their, you know, transactions to see if they purchased it. Our job as investigators and even managers isn't to investigate to prove guilt. I tell people, if you do a great investigation, what you're doing is you're trying to prove they're innocent.
Right.
And in that process of trying to prove them innocent, you will find them if they are guilty. Because like every good defense attorney, we're trying to overturn every rock to find that excuse for what they did and why they did it. And even if it doesn't excuse their actions, it helps us understand what caused it. So the more you know.
Well, the details matter. I mean, think about like all the investigations that we've conducted, right? And the ones that we've, helped out in. Sometimes we could put, I mean, not sometimes, oftentimes we could impact somebody's livelihood. This is their
Yeah.
job. This is what they depend on. This is how they feed their family. Like, it's important to know all the details. And, I've known a lot of HR professional career, and I've known a lot of them to be easily swayed by the first person that comes to HR and complains,
Yep.
right? And so you lead, they lead investigations with their mind already made up that the story is as the first person told it. And that's not, always the case. Often we find out, and I'd say more times than not, we find out that there's so much more to the story than what that person originally said. And it could be things as like Jake's example about the sodas, or it could be something as severe as like harassment case, right? Like this person, insinuated that they want to do these sexual things with me, and it could be the farthest thing from. I mean, the farthest thing from the truth, or it could be, unfortunately, I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but I've experienced it where the aggressor is not your common aggressor, right? And so like when we look at and I know this is like a taboo subject, right, still to this date, but think about 15 years ago, right? Sexual harassment, in most of the trainings that we've conducted or that I've even received, the aggressor is male, right?
Yeah.
And so it's very taboo when the female could never. But there have been cases where the female is the aggressor. So I say all that to say that the details definitely matter, because we could impact somebody's livelihood, especially if we're led or we make decisions without knowing the entire. I mean, are we going to know the truth all the time? Maybe not. But it is important that as professionals, investigators, that we paint the closest picture to the truth, even if that means pulling 12 people into our offices. Now, I know that's our favorite thing to do. Who has time to talk to 12 people in the day? I don't. I certainly don't want to.
What's the issue, dude? You only work 2 days this week.
Look, the biggest story I want an answer to, Mel, is what is the story on your Wi-Fi?
Listen,
Or
it's
an
just
investigation.
it's with you guys. I'm gonna file a complaint, and then I want one of you to take lead on that investigation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what
Jake
it
from
is.
HR.
Yep, I feel like someone may not have paid the internet bill, and that they may have lied to their significant other about it.
Well,
Jay,
she is only working 2 days a week.
wait, 2 days this week.
Just this week.
Just
Be
this
disparaging
week.
her.
Or like but it's actually my parents' 50th wedding anniversary on Friday, and so it's in the Hispanic culture. It's this huge like thing, keeping it out wedding vibe style, and so we're in preparation mode. Super exciting time. Nothing related to the podcast, but very exciting time.
That's why her internet's not working very well.
Yes. There's so many people in my house.
The root cause
Everybody's
is
using the internet.
It's important to know the details.
Exactly.
I do want to ask Kenny about his story. The balloon murder mystery. Like this thing is
just about to ask that.
Blowing my mind on like what is it? And like I have so many stories in my own head.
It makes me think of Killer Clowns.
Yeah,
I want to know more.
So okay. Let's set the stage. The balloon murder mystery is an infamous investigation in my old work location. As a matter of fact, somebody at that work location still has the infamous murdered balloon. Just to, like that. If I can get a hold of that balloon, I would hang it up back here. Anyway, it's truly. This is how it went. I got a call from a particular department, and they said, "Hey, we need you to come down here. They're really upset. The staff is upset." I said, "Oh, they didn't give me details, so it wasn't like I could prepare what I was going to." Not a problem. grab the the notebook, my pen. I go down there. I said, "What's going on? Why is everyone so upset?" It's a fictitious name. I don't even remember her name. Joanna killed the balloon. I said, "What?" She killed the time out. Stop. Let me come back, leave, and come right back. What are we talking about here? So it turns out that for the last 8 months, this Mylar balloon, this birthday balloon, had been floating in the office above this lady's desk. And they were taking wagers of how long this balloon would stay up there. So it was like needling at this lady Joanna that this balloon was still up there after 8 months. Everyone is having the time of their lives betting on this balloon. 8 months, 9 months, 12 months. A couple of people got a year and a half. They got a pot going. They got money. I'm telling you, this is what I uncovered in the investigation.
So
But
there was betting.
There was some betting, but again, they said that there's no real money exchanging hands. They were just kind of like wagering. But one night, Joanna stayed late. And Joanna climbed up on the lady's desk because you had to climb the desk to get to this balloon. And she stabbed the balloon with a pair of scissors. And they found the balloon with stab wounds on the desk with a note, with a note left saying, "There's your balloon. It's gone."
Dun.
Right. So I'm in like, okay, like you try everything as an HR professional just to remain professional, not laugh, take it very seriously. But it took all my facial energy not to like, I was like, I said, this can't be real. But in my head, what came out was, well, that's unfortunate. We're going to have to investigate. Right? So I interviewed like 10 people of the staff and asked, what's the deal with the balloon? And did anyone see Joanna physically stab this balloon? Now, mind you, I'm leaving Joanna for the end. Everybody says it had to be her. She started beef. 6 months in, she made a comment. She was trying to throw pencils at it. She was going insane. When I interviewed this fictitious Joanna, the story is real, but the name is fictitious. I said, okay, you're being accused of doing something that the office is really upset about. Did you, in fact, stab the balloon? Did you break? I tried to say murder, but I was like, did you kill the balloon? And she said, yes, I did. And I took pleasure in stabbing this balloon repeatedly because I couldn't take it anymore. When I tell you my mouth was like you see like a twist in a movie or something, like, holy shit, I got you red-handed. But I'm like, you stabbed the balloon. What's the recourse here? Like, how big a deal is this? But I said, go ahead. Because
I was just gonna say, like, what were you hoping for her to say?
I don't know. I was hoping for her to say,
it wasn't me.
Well, I was hoping her to say, like, this is ridiculous. Like, I wouldn't do that. Like, someone's setting me up, or something stupid.
Okay.
But she said, I took pleasure in inserting the scissors into this balloon. I was like, holy shit, you're deranged, lady. Like, oh my God. So we solved the, now again, I am reporting back because I didn't interview all 12 at the same time, or all 10. I keep reporting back to my HR team. I'm like, after I got the initial intel, I went running back to the office. I'm like, guys, you'll never believe what just happened. There's a balloon murdered. There's a balloon murdered in the accounting department. I swear to God, this is real. This is real. And they're like, we can't wait to see your summary. And then what we would do is we read the summaries on we had a weekly meeting. We read the summaries out of some of the things we were doing. I said, I can't wait to write it and read it either. So then I went running back, did the interview. So yeah, apparently she had been so angry. Now, no one complained about this lady before. No one has said anything about this lady before. She was a model employee, perfect records and all that stuff. And they were like, she needs to be fired. She needs to be fired. She murdered the balloon. I go, guys, let me just tell you what we're gonna do. She's gonna get a warning, a verbal warning to respect other people's privacy and their belongings. And I want you guys to all understand that that's not okay. That's it. I was like, I can't believe this one fell on my lap. That I have the balloon murder mystery. That is my claim to fame in that office. I have other claims to fame, but that was a good one.
Where was this balloon purchased? Because I need to know to where should I be getting my Mylar balloons?
Hobby Lobby.
So this office was in a ritzy part of the Palm Beach County. It was a ritzy part. So I'm assuming it was a Publix or a Target, somewhere.
They're richer. Do they get the higher quality helium?
No, I'm just saying, like, okay, so for me, if you say go get a Mylar balloon, I'm going to dollar store and then get you a Mylar balloon from the dollar store because it's $1 and I really don't care what it says. But they kind of went out, they get nice quality shit, and I'm like, okay. But yeah, that balloon stood no chance against those scissors.
Yeah,
that murderer.
Out of everything you shared, I'm concerned about so much more than that balloon. I'm concerned with the unsafe practices with the scissors. I'm concerned with her standing on a desk.
There's some safety concerns there.
Yes, safety concerns.
I'm concerned with her satisfaction over something so minute that she might be mentally unstable, and we need to offer her some employee assistance programs.
Yes.
Wellness check. Do a welfare check.
That poor balloon didn't get a wellness check.
I'm a little concerned that she didn't take a bet on the balloon dying that day so she could benefit from the imaginary profits.
I thought that was honestly that was my underlying hypothesis, is that somebody killed the balloon to get the money because they talked about they were making bets on it.
And then threw her under the bus and told her, I'll cut you in if you take the blame. Do it, Cindy. Do it.
That's a good thought.
I have one major question though. Was this a casket service or a cremation?
No, actually, the body was preserved and it's enshrined in the HR Hall of Fame. No, somebody in the office has it. I guarantee you, somebody has it because we brought the balloon back. I said, can I have it, please? Can we please take this with us? And I took it back and I showed, look at it in the face. Look at the face of this balloon. No, honestly, I brought it back. I was like, this is crazy. This is one for the books.
I'm gonna write a book. If anybody in my current company calls me about a similar situation, I'm gonna come out with cones and tape, and we're gonna tape the area off. I mean, because of how stupid that is, I'm gonna make it so extra. I'm gonna have flashing lights. I'm gonna have a bullhorn. Please step away.
It's the crime scene.
That sounds like some stuff you would actually legit pettiness do.
I would, and then
Jake
afterwards,
Pettiano.
and when people start making comments, I'm gonna go, I don't know why y'all are getting so mad at me being extra. Y'all focused on something so stupid.
Well, that's my question. You gave her a verbal warning. Did the behavior really warrant that punishment? Like, it's a balloon.
Well, again, we went to the premise because there was underlying issues going back and forth about her moving plants and little things. Like, there was a lot of accusations. The final straw, obviously, was the murdering of the balloon. But we just kind of felt like, look, the easiest way to wrap this up without getting ourselves into some kind of, TV, someone's calling an attorney on TV, is just saying that, look, let's respect people's, private property and do not touch things if they're not on your desk, that type of thing. Because we were like, how do we wrap this up? That was the best meeting, was like, I bring it back. So what do you guys want to do with this? Because
Well,
we
A
had
little,
suggestions, but it had to be approved. So I was like, okay, so how you guys want to?
Professionalism, respect,
I'm
pep
s-
talk.
I'm so happy she did not have any office romances because I can imagine what that would have turned into.
Oh my God.
I feel like this
Joanne.
could be Jerry Springer all over again about the
Oh,
balloon.
You are not the murderer. Oh, I'm telling you.
So
I'm
I have
telling you.
I have a funny question. Not a funny question, but a very it could be an intricate question. When you conduct your investigations, right? Like I like to lead my investigations with transparency, right? I believe it helps move my investigation smoother if you are honest with me and I am as honest as I can be with whomever I'm investigating, right? When we get statements, do you read verbatims to whomever you're investigating at that moment?
No.
Yes.
I think it depends. Okay, so that's a tricky question because I think the answer is yes and no, depending on the facts that you're investigating. Because if you tell them what you know, you're showing your hand. But in some situations where after you've already questioned them, I wouldn't read other people's statements like verbatim because for one, I don't want them to have all the facts. I want them to tell me the facts, and then two, I don't want to spoon feed them information that might tell them who said it, because that's going to be a whole nother investigation.
Well, okay. So the way I handle that is it depends on the scenario, right? So, for example, if I have enough witnesses corroborate the same info, and I maybe have camera or footage or whatever, I have something's pretty solid. At this point, I'm now going to just either get you on, hey, you were honest about it, or get you on, you lied, even though this was already proven. So when I get to that point where I kind of know where the investigation is probably going to end, I'll say it straight up and say, hey, the allegation is the following. You said, and then just blurt it out. And I'm looking for the shock factor, right? I'm looking for, that's crazy. You know, I would never say that. Or the acting, right? Oh my God, really?
Oh
Like,
my
I would
God.
never say that. That's
The
not,
gasp.
oh no, that's not so, oh my, like me, if you said like, hey, you said that, I'd be like, nah, I didn't. No, that's not what I said. And it's wrong. Like I would tell you straight up and I'd be like, all right, that guy's a straight shooter, right? But like, oh my, that's shocking to me. I cannot believe that someone would say that about me and that I would say, I'm like, oh, okay, now you're laying on thick. Like, get out of here. But
Yeah.
when they say no, I didn't say it, and we have it on camera or we have a recording or whatever, it's like, now you're lying. If they come out and say, yes, I did say that, it might have been misunderstood, here's how I said it, then I go, okay, that actually sways a little bit of how I write the summary, which I say the employee was upfront and honest about the allegation, did confirm that they said that, but they meant it in a different context, whatever that, I will try to make sure that that's known, that they were upfront about it. But if it's really egregious, then no, it is what it is. But
Yes.
yeah, reading the verbatims is fun.
I feel like we could do a whole podcast on the personalities of the people being interviewed. Because, like, as you were saying that, I'm picturing the one that I call him the blamer, where they're like, "Oh, I know who said that. That was Brittany. I know Brittany said that." It's like,
Oh yes, absolutely. Because
it's like we're not even talking about Brittany. Where'd that name come from? Tell me more. Why do you think it's Brittany?
Why do you think? Yeah, why do you think it's Brittany? But
okay,
think about it. And go ahead.
No, go ahead. So you start.
So the thing I think about is, while I'm doing investigations, is I'm pulling it out of you. This will give away all my tricks and my tips and all that stuff, my little nuggets of information, my pro tips. But I'm leading you, and you're gonna tell me.
Mm-hmm.
So if you call it psychological, or you can call it manipulation, I'm okay with that. But I need specific answers. And so I'm going to use trigger words. I'm going to pull them out from what the person said from the the original story or whatever it is. So if like Jason murdered the balloon with a pair of scissors, then I'm gonna go and say, so I heard something about some scissors. What's up? What's up with the scissors thing? And they
Oh,
were like, oh yeah, so and so went over here and stabbed something with some scissors. What? Okay, so you said stabbed. What did they stab? It's like you're leading a question onto another question, which is, I guess that is true psychological. You're leading a question on top of a question on top of another question, but like it's like I'm leading the horse to the water, but that horse is gonna drink.
I like that. That's a good tactic. I'm leading you, but you're gonna tell me everything.
Mhm.
It's not called baiting. It's I'm leading you.
I'm a great leader.
I like phrases like "help me understand"
Oh, yeah.
or
Help me
like
understand.
the interrogation technique.
Ooh.
So when one of the techniques that they use when they interrogate people in law enforcement and anyone that goes through like Wickland or
I knew you were
Zulu,
gonna say that.
yeah,
I knew it.
I love their techniques
You
because you can
do.
use them in so many different formats. It's like, you sit down with whatever her name is that killed the balloon. It's like, look, I want to talk to you about this balloon, but before I do that, you only stabbed one balloon. It wasn't like 15, right? Oh, no. It was just one balloon. It was just one balloon.
That's really
Okay.
Like
good.
it wasn't bad enough.
Yeah, or
Still one is bad.
like, hey, look, I'm looking into some comments where you were calling Sarah some vulgar names, but it wasn't racist, right? It wasn't racist terms. No, it wasn't racist. I just called her a bitch.
That's actually really good.
That's a very good tactic. It's kind of similar to what I try to do, but yours is just so much more maniacal, and I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, or you say it the way you think. You're telling them that without telling them like, hey, look, help me understand why you would stab a balloon. I never said
Stab a balloon.
I stabbed a balloon.
well, a lot of times what they'll do is they'll pause because they're like, well, I was, they're trying to figure out like how to explain it, because you're not saying, did you stab the balloon? What you're saying is, and you could rephrase it a little bit more vague to where it's not accusatory necessarily, where help me understand why you would stab a balloon. I never said they stabbed that balloon.
You're
like
open and not saying necessarily you did this, but
mhm.
tell me why you would stab.
Yeah, it's like if someone's
Like,
stealing
it's a question.
something, like if someone takes something without paying for it in the retail industry, a lot of times with the employees, we would, help me understand why you would walk out the door with merchandise without paying. Or help me understand why you didn't help me understand why you didn't go through the register with that camera. Like, help me understand it. So and it also kind of comes off as like, I'm trying to help you. Like, help me understand what you did. Help me. It's like, I know you stole it, or I know you did it, or I know you said it. It's very accusatory. When you accuse people, they shut down and they don't want to talk. So that's where, and Wicklander Zulu, I loved it. I love Wicklander, but it's not always effective, because I've used it on people before where like you try to rationalize the conversation with them. And I've had people literally stop me in the middle of my conversation. Look, can we just skip the bullshit? And I'm like, if you want to, absolutely. Why'd you take this? I didn't take it. I got cameras. That's not me. I'm like, wow, you got twin brother? Okay. Well, let's just go to the conversation. We're not here. You're going to get fired today. We're just trying to decide whether or not we press charges. If you want to take it out of this route and you want to be ghetto, I can be ghetto too. Come on. Like,
oh, come on now.
I mean, I'm not
Spicy
that
Jake.
blunt in the interview, but that's what I'm thinking while we're having that professional conversation.
But see, you got to have those, and this is actual common sense and things that we think about while we're in our investigations. remain calm. Don't go all ghetto
Right.
like Jake from HR was talking about.
I get ghetto in my head.
And it is
Don't
that
get ghetto in your
saying.
head either, because
I
that
don't get-
sometimes leaks out and you know it.
No,
But
I don't
the
have any
soft,
kids.
the soft skills you have to have, and y'all have all heard this saying. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. So I can say to them, did you really just stab that balloon? Or did you really stab that balloon? Like it's a two different types of level. And the nicer one that they feel that you're being connective towards them, they're gonna answer everything you ask them most
So
of the time.
I would have sit down with her. We would have had some Red Bulls on the desk. I'd be like, girl, what that balloon do to you? Tell me who hurt you.
Let's
Like,
talk.
I need to know.
Your childhood trauma.
Let's take this
Did your
back.
grandma give you a Baja too, girl?
Were you ever left at a zoo by mistake?
You afraid
Or
of
a
clowns?
circus? Like I would have been her friend. And then afterwards I would have laughed with her and be like, girl, look, you cannot stab balloons at work, okay? I'm
Always
sorry.
be
You
friends
can't.
with the crazy person, because you know
Right.
what? They won't stab you.
Stab the balloon.
Like, I want them to know that I am their friend. Let me survive.
You have to appreciate too. She let her frustrations out on a thing and not her coworker. So we definitely appreciate the mature take on blowing off some steam.
Is it mature though? Because they say if you lie, you cheat, you steal, you kill. But if you stab inanimate objects, the next step is to stab non-inanimous objects.
The HR guy. This is going to stab me.
The HR guy. The person who's not the one firing you, but they have to use the verbiage.
Yeah.
And now you think we're the one that fired you. We just processed the paperwork. We're like the mean parent that really isn't the mean parent. We're just doing the dirty work for the mean parent. That's really pretending to be the nice parent.
Is forcing us to be the mean
We're the
parent.
aunts and uncles. And the grandparents are the sweet ones that always provide the candy and the love and the hugs and the money. And the parents are the ones that are always punishing. So we're the middle in between aunt and uncle.
We're the mean parent. We're the mean parent. I have a whole topic on this. We're the mean parent.
That's a good summarization of HR, the mean parent. I would totally agree with that. So I have 4 tips to close out investigations. Always investigate with an open mind, right? Don't let the first person that reported lead the investigation outcome. Number 2, which is always a favorite in the HR world, is keep the confidentiality. You can be as transparent as you want with the employees to a level that's comfortable and isn't going to jeopardize your investigation, but keep it confidential. That's what HR is known for. Number 3, know your details before you make any final decisions, any final recommendations. Make sure you're as close to the truth, which probably ties into the first one. And the last one, which is the most important one. If we ask you, it's because we know.
That's it.
Eyes in the back of our head.
Listen, those are great tips. Great tips to close out on. I think we should revisit this one because there's some good stories on here that we haven't even gotten to. Like let's just tease it for the audience, right? Like we've got let's see.
Say it. You know you want to. It's highlighted.
No. I know. No. I'm looking at some of Jake's investigations here. Oops, he left the weed burning.
The club on the company dime.
Yeah.
One of my most memorable is 6 people ended up with gonorrhea.
Oh.
Again, story for another episode. There's also
like what was going on in your past employer? Like you had people, flowers in the attic, gonorrhea. Remind you to stay away from there.
And I'm going to be honest, These are not with the same company. They're
Lord.
not.
Oh my gosh,
Oh.
Jason's
Well, if someone-
away, the
if
party
someone
will
linked-
play.
If someone LinkedIn stalks me and sees where I previously worked, just know that these stories I'm sharing are not from one specific company, nor are they from my current company.
Right. Right.
We don't talk about our current companies.
No, they pay my
Exactly.
bills.
Yeah,
No,
we we like to get paid. Plus, we want to keep,
Yes.
you know.
I love my job. I'm happy where I
Yeah.
am. That's why I don't share anything about them because I like them.
Right. I like where I work.
Yeah.
Can I make one comment that I want to say that a radio
Yes.
host that just reminds me of a very, very good saying. And this is something we could live by in HR. If the world didn't suck, we'd all fall off.
Is this in the AM or FM radio?
These were the talkie days when there was no TV.
I don't get.
Yes,
I
hey. Welcome to the news station. Yes, hey.
was gonna say I'm pretty southern, and I don't get that one.
It's a local radio station here, and I love her to death. Name is Bristol, and she's end her show with, "Just remember, if the world didn't suck, we'd all fall off."
Is she in the room next to
It's
you?
metaphorical, and it's so funny at the same time because it's gravity. I'm explaining science here. Jesus Christ.
Okay. Well, we are
Let's wrap up.
we are at an hour and 16 minutes, so we are going to bring this show to a close. And until we call you in the office again, remember, hate has no home here.
So tell your boss I said hi. Well, that's another episode of the Four Friends Trying to Figure Out HR. We didn't solve anything, but hey, at least we tried.
And by tried, we mean we laughed, we overshared, and we probably violated some HR guidelines ourselves.
But remember, this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Don't take our advice. Seriously, don't.
And if your HR manager asks, you've never heard of us or this podcast.
Thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, and join us the next time as we keep trying to figure out HR and fail spectacularly.
Now, go be productive, or at least pretend to be.
And tell your boss that I said hi.
Tell your mom I said hello.
Tell your daddy I said hey.
And remember, hate has no home here.
Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week again for a fresh round.